happens.
Uncle Job Snap, who to up on Black Power, what it is. Family, you already know this is your brother Nguvo. Now you see RANM. Another episode of good RANM RBG TV. Forgive the noise in the background right now. Before I even go further, you already know family, black love is care for the Black Nation, so let's get it. Right now, I'm pretty sure you hear some noise in the background. I'm on a Blog Talk Radio, so I wanted to have this conversation recorded, and y'all stay tuned and see how we get it in.
Yes, ma'am.
You are now in the host queue. We can go on with tonight's topic. I have put out a few feelers to those who are involved with nationalism and things like that. So if you don't mind, can you go ahead and introduce the topic, and then I'm going to open up the two mics that are here. It looks like Brother Mike has chimed in now, and we also have a guest with us this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and open up their mic.
Okay.
Ask you over. Thank you.
Okay. This topic that we're going to deal with tonight actually came out of a conversation that I had with Brother Mike Hicks. I was on my way to work actually on Sunday, and Brother Mike called and we talked about some things. And one of the things that we discussed was this idea of nationalism. And Sign of the Times in this show, and also our Brothers of the Sun on Friday, we've been dealing with. You have some background noise or something? We sat there and we talked about this idea and the concept of nationalism, and how nationalists seem to never be able to get their thing going. We wind up arguing with each other. We wind up doing all types of things that probably should not be doing. But nevertheless, we end up with them. And so I say that to say this, that I was explaining to Mike, and we were having this conversation about the plethora of different types of nationalism that we have. And one of the most frustrating things for me is that while hammering down exactly what type of nationalist I was, what I actually believed, it took me back to my days at the Ohio State University, where while I was in the Black Studies department, we were overrun, and I use the term overrun because it's what occurred, by cultural nationalists. And being someone who was a revolutionary nationalist, I didn't understand what cultural nationalism was necessarily about at that time. And having a more recent run-in with a group of cultural nationalists who just completely bewildered me as far as what it is they're even about. I wrote this piece a while back, and it's actually from September 30th, 2014. It's almost a year old, coming up on being a year old. And so I thought we would use that piece to kind of frame our discussion. The piece is titled Talking Loud and Saying Nothing, the Weirdification of Contemporary Black Activism. And it reads as follows. Like a dull knife, just ain't cutting, just talking loud and saying nothing. James Brown. If nothing else, studying history can be very illuminating in regards to our contemporary situation and issues. It is the gift of historical study that provides the solution to contemporary problems. The realization of such makes the appearance of cultural nationalism within our midst downright puzzling. Not to mention its appearance amongst an activist community that one would expect to have staved off historical and cultural illiteracy. Aside from fanciful cultural celebrations, bizarre linguistic alterations, and dress, cultural nationalism has proven incapable of impacting the political economic issues chaining our people today. Not even Ron Karinga's US organization was able to make a dent in our people's suffering. An organizational failure that, when compared to the revolutionary nationalist Black Panther Party, highlights the myriad fallacies, flaws, and inadequacies found within cultural nationalism. Taken in its totality, it became apparent during the 60s that the pseudo-African language, dress, and piecemeal historical constructs that cultural nationalist groups undertook throughout the 60s amounted to little of nothing, as there was neither a political institution developed to engage a hostile white establishment nor a move towards economic collectivism community members. Put simply, the donning of a dashiki is a fashion choice, not a revolutionary act.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it appears as if we are now within a cultural nationalist renaissance that makes me call upon one of my favorite quotes of Malcolm X regarding the 1964 March on Washington. It was a circus with clowns and all. The proliferation of cultural nationalist ideologies and belief systems has made the movement look like a three-ring circus. Cultural nationalists have historically been fringe groups with a minuscule following of naive, uneducated, gullible people whose failures in life made them unbelievably receptive to charlatans presenting themselves as race leaders, possessing a plan to ameliorate all that ails them. Two of the earliest manifestations of such leadership are Daddy Grace and Father Devon. A mere perusal of the activist landscape today points to innumerable individuals and groups that have assumed their position. Contemporary cultural nationalism are a little different from those that came before them in that they advance a significantly flawed analysis of contemporary issues affecting an economically exploited and politically disorganized community with often persuasive arguments that inform their gullible followers that if they would alter intangible aspects of their life, meaning the way that they view themselves, their value systems and beliefs, they would be able to conquer tangible issues. It is only within the sci-fi world that many cultural nationalists exist that changes to intangible variables will affect the tangible world. History dictates that those who engage cultural nationalism will divorce themselves from reality, meaning they will characterize themselves differently, attempt to adopt a value system that counteracts pre-existing values, and ridicule others for not coming into knowledge of self. Unbeknownst to cultural nationalist converts, the vast majority of the ideology and specialized metaphysical areas of study that they religiously spend weeks, years, and sometimes decades learning is little more than historical innuendos and half-truths not grounded in much truth. It is quite simply busy work that ultimately leads to nothing more than wasted water. I recently come across cultural nationalists of various groups who have harped upon issues such as space aliens, a vibrating universe, Sharia law, nuclear reactors being housed in pyramids, the fact that the Euro-Arab slave trade never occurred, gamma rays being shot into the minds of citizens, and even one person who admonished that we should not hold those who have murdered African Americans down in American streets as they were under mind control by the Rothschilds and therefore not responsible for their small role in the larger plot to kill us. However, reasonableness is lost on cultural nationalists as they have become as steeped in the teachings of whatever group they have joined as the Christians they criticize on a daily basis. They're a little more than sheep being led around. Put simply, these people are hooked upon cultural nationalist ideas and arguments that continually busy their minds and distract them from the tangible suffering that their people experience. In light of the obvious suffering that persons of African descent on the North American continent continually experience, the time for what could be best termed mental masturbation sessions has expired. Although I obviously have strong feelings regarding the proliferation of cultural nationalism within our community and consider revolutionary nationalism as the only path to liberation, I think that we may need to put our distinctive cultural beliefs in the same closet that Malcolm X advised us to put our religious beliefs. Malcolm advised such because if we don't, we will simply come together and argue about inconsequential minutiae the entire time we are together. Precious time that could be used to strategically plan improving the tangible existence of our people. The failure to lay down the innumerable rivalries and petty beefs that occur between cultural nationalist groups guarantees an extension of the tangible misery that our people are experiencing and a continuation of our status as a people who the world looks upon as those who are continually talking loud and saying nothing.
Yep.
That's the piece right there, everyone.
Excellent piece, Dr. Jones. Brother Mike, your mic is open, and I'm going to be opening up our test mic shortly.
Hey, peace and blessings. Peace, Dr. Jones. Peace, Sister Vanessa. I think I heard a little bit of Brother Roman, and peace to your guests. It definitely is a strong piece, and I think it goes a long way to get to learn, definitely sometimes we, we take it for granted that, I got that. I'm sorry. I'm in the store right now, so if you hear any wayward noise or whatever, that's where that's coming from. We take it for granted sometimes, I think, that, just because we say that we're black or we speak in a particular fashion, that, we all have a universal understanding, or that we have a unity of vision. And I think that it's become, painfully apparent, as we've been striving to bring forth, a principled approach, that will unite us across the different stratas, that Dr. Jones is really speaking to and about. Some of us, we put our particular cultural, leanings or political leanings, or spiritual leanings, before the struggle, and if you're not willing to drop what you are or what you claim yourself to be, and agree that I'm going to be a more first, or I'm going to be a this first, or I'm going to become a that first, then we can't unify. Where principles should allow us to be able to unify, so that we can get down into some practical work, that will allow us to begin to do real things in our own lives and in our own communities, collectively, that will allow us to have more power, instead of just rhetoric, and I don't want that to sound offensive, but that's what it comes down to a lot of times, like Brother was saying, when it's just about symbolism, it's about, we say, and I don't want to be, hey, I'm just going to say it. Some people put hotel and, and assalamu alaikum and peace God and, I say and what have you, those colloquialisms that are connected to specific cultural expressions, they put that before seeking a real unity, a principled unity, that allows us to see each other as brothers, as sisters, as family, and what it does, I think a lot of times, is it takes away from the diversity that those different cultural expressions have, should offer us. I don't have a problem with someone who considers themselves, a god, or earth, from our, family members from the nation of gods and earth. I don't have a problem with, a brother who considers himself to be a Moor or a Muslim, from the nation of Islam, or even, an Orthodox Muslim, and is a black man or woman. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm seeking unity, a principled unity without uniformity. And if you're down for us being able to develop principled unity that will allow us to become agents of change in our own lives, so that we can begin to collectively wield power, social power, that we can feed into our politics, into our economics, so that we can have a greater say-so in our community, I'm down for you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fall out with you because, you're wearing a particular button, or but the problem is, I think, is when people who do, again, hail from those particular cultural expressions, where they put the cultural expression before the need for practical unity, So what I'm going to say at this point, because I know that we have a caller on the line and probably have other callers on the line, and I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here for the entire show, and I would hope that, that the family recognizes that Brother Mike is here for the duration, you know what I mean, and that, no matter, what's going on, unless something, really, big, happens to me, or something that stops me from being here, I'm here, you know what I mean, I consider myself, a lot of things, there's a lot of different layers, to who I consider myself to be as a student, You know, I consider myself a student first and foremost. But as far as my politics, or as far as my particular vision, you know, of our community, I consider myself to be a Malcolm Black nationalist, a Malcolm X Black nationalist. You know, and everybody who claims, you know, Black nationalism, I found that they're not necessarily of that same particular outlook. So my particular outlook of Black nationalism is what Malcolm described when he talked about the politics, the economics, you know, everything, the social policies and norms, everything in our community should be determined and controlled and shaped by us. You know what I mean? You know, it should be shaped and controlled by us to give us the power over our own lives and our own neighborhoods. You know, that we maintain, that we control for the best of ourselves and our elders and our babies come behind us. You know what I mean? And just about everything that I talk about in regards to our people, you know, comes through that particular lens, you know, that particular point of view. You know, I judge everything that I hear and say, you know, and critique, you know, through that lens, you know, that we should be in control of our own lives and in control of our own neighborhoods. You know, we have the right to self-determination. You know, the same way other races and ethnicities have already made this declaration and have already practiced that, which has allowed them to carve out enclaves that they bend to their social, political, cultural, racial, ethnic will, that allows them to set up Chinatowns and little Italies and all of these types of things. I am of the belief that we should be able to use our sameness, racially, culturally, ethnically, you know what I mean, to be able to bend our places, you know, that we dominate, you know, numerically. We should be able to use those numbers, to organize those numbers, to bend our neighborhoods, our enclaves to our political will, our social, economic, political will. You know what I mean? So having said that, you know, I'm excited. I'm very excited. And yeah, I did call a brother, you know, because we really trying to, it's out of the times, we really trying to come up with a cohesive, real, honest to goodness, you know, consciousness and dialogue. That's not just about, you know, intellectual masturbation, so on and so forth, but it's really about putting forth, you know, strategies, you know, that can be used by anyone of goodwill, any Black person of goodwill, to begin to get unstuck, you know, either from the ignorance, you know, that's common amongst the masses, or even, you know, what Dr. Jones described in, you know, in a lot of the hoopla and rhetoric sometimes that some of us have submitted to. Mm-hmm. You know, some of us just exist as, you know, people on the fringe. You know, Farrakhan's my man, you know. And because I made the declaration that Farrakhan's my man, I don't have to do anything particularly myself. Mm-hmm. You know, I just made the declaration that Farrakhan's my man. I don't have any particular work that I'm engaging in, but I just made the declaration. And that's not going to get us anywhere, you know. And that's not to, again, that's not to chagrin or offend any particular group or any particular person that's, you know, that's in one of these particular groups. And I know that some people will take it like that anyway, but, you know, it's not meant to offend. It's just saying that that's not enough. You know, that you have on, like Brother said, a dashiki, or you have on a particular pin, or you know, that's not enough. You know, we all have to become serious students of our struggle and liberation, and we have to also work at promoting principled dialogue and action, you know, that allows us to connect across the, you know, the lines of culture and you know, and particular political, you know, outlooks and things of that nature, you know. So anyway, having said all of that, family, I'm gonna fall back and I'm gonna mute my mic so that my background noise doesn't disturb. And I thank everybody. I thank you, Sister Queen Tahiyrah, for continuing to fight and do the best that you can, you know, to be a spark of inspiration, you know, to the people in your neighborhood, you know, in your city, You know, the same, you know, for Dr. Jones and Brother Roman and whoever else, man. If you really, you know, take an invested interest and you continue to show up on these front lines, you know, I consider you my brethren, my sister. So, you know, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be with you tonight.
Dr. Gunner here?
Yes, ma'am, I am here. I'm walking down some stairs in my building right now. Can you give me 5 minutes?
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to introduce the guest on this topic of nationalism. And, you know, one thing that we've always discussed on Side of the Times is the role of the man, the role of the woman, and our roles collectively. So I would like to get that from you when we come back. This is Queen Tahiyrah. You're listening to Side of the Times Tuesdays with Dr. King. And we will be right back.
Alright, so they on commercial right now, whatever. When we get back, whatever, I'm guessing that the Queen sister's gonna have me come on or whatever, so I apologize for the delay, whatever, family. But nonetheless, stick with me, walk with me, I walk with you. You already know how we do. This is BGTV, family. You already know we keeps it G. Again, this is a live blog talk that I'm involved in, whatever. At first, the first couple minutes of the video y'all saw, I was listening, I'm tuning in, basically waiting for my chance. And they're on commercial right now. As you can hear the noise in the background, they're on commercial, so stay with me, stay tuned. As soon as they come back or whatever, I believe the sister's going to get right into it, whatever. She's going to get my point of view on what we're talking about, and which is nationalism, family. Can't run from this shit. Nationalism. Black nationalism or perish. Pan-Africanism or die. You already know how I say it anyway. You already know? But in the meantime, between time, keep it locked, keep it G right here. Like I said, when we get back from commercial break, we're going to go right back into it. Cool Tuapo on Black Power. Stay tuned.
Are you here? So I yield to you.
Yes, ma'am, I am here. The question that you were presenting, could you re-present it?
Well, the question that I had was, you know, what is the role of the male's relationship? What is the role of the female's relationship? And what is the role of their relationship collectively when it comes to black nationalism?
You know, the thing is that that's a very tricky and difficult question to answer. Because at the exact same time that we're trying to create a new paradigm and deal with some new issues and what have you, we have to be very careful that we don't fall into white patriarchal roles, which, regardless of how we want to look at them, they have historically not worked for us as a people. So in regards to the male's role in regards to a nationalist movement, it is one of those as part leader, co-leader, with the Queen, what have you, a courageous leader, one that has an ability to go ahead and, for lack of a better way of describing it, selfless, giving everything to the movement. Mm-hmm. And what we see from the male and the female, it's one of the reasons why every male shouldn't be with every female, and every female doesn't fit with every male, is that they need to be complementary with each other. They need to both be self-sacrificing, and where one may have a blind spot, the other can see. Mm-hmm. And where the other may have a weakness, the other one is going to be strong. And that will work for us from organizational level as far as activism goes and what have you, all the way through our family unit. You know, the relations of a man to a woman and a woman to a man. Mm-hmm. So I yield with that.
I say thank you. Do you think you can introduce our guest?
I didn't catch what you said, Queen.
Yeah, I sent you an intro for another from the nationalist movement. I was wondering if you could introduce him for me, please.
Give me 1 second. I'm in the process of driving, so I have to pull it up. Okay. Good evening, family. This is Nguvo, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, Ram, from the Rebuild Our Nation movement. That's their Facebook page. And we'd like to welcome him into the show. So welcome, brother.
Peace, family. Peace, peace. First and foremost, I want to introduce myself, like always. My name is Nguvo, Ranm, and I'll always, greet myself with everybody, which is Uncle Job Seneb, and that's basically life, prosperity, and health. And I also include the word Hutuapo, which means peace. So I want to extend that to everybody out there. Peace and black power to y'all.
Peace, brother. Peace. Tomorrow, so I'm going to have our mics muted because we're traveling. I know that I'm driving right now, and I know Brother Mike is out and about, so it may take us a moment to respond. So,
it's all good, family. That's technology.
Give us a second.
It's all technology, man. It's all good. I understand. So what's going on, man? I see that the topic is black nationalism, which needs to be back on the forefront of the conversation within the hood, and that's beautiful. But in my personal opinion, if I have the floor to do so, I honestly feel that people need to slow down just a little bit because I don't really think people understand what nationalism really is, especially when dealing with black people. I'm not sure if anybody, I'm pretty sure you all out there who's, hosting the show, but anybody out there that's listening, if you have not heard of one of the greatest psychologists that we've ever had, the ancestor, Dr. Emerson Wilson, I suggest you all need to go get the book, the text, nonetheless, The Blueprint for Black Power. And then when you get the text, you need to go to the back of the book. I believe it starts on page 848 or 849, when he starts to talk about what the hell nationalism really is. Now, enough for nothing, he states there's two types of nationalism. One type of nationalism is basically a tool of conquest, a military effort, if you will, to subdue and suppress another people, imperialism, right? Then the second type of nationalism is basically when the oppressed gets their shit together and frees themselves, all based on one common core, one common goal, one common agenda, all facing one common enemy. So that's the two types of nationalism that he's talking about. Now, personally, I want to add on a third one, if you will, and this is actually going to follow up to another great ancestor that we've had, Brother Tony Martin, who was a historian for the UNIA ACL, the United Negro Improvement Association, African Communities League, which was started by none other than Marcus Messiah Garvey. The third nationalism basically is race first, and that should, in my personal opinion, that should be first on the list, because at the end of the day, if you know what Garvey was saying when he said the ideology of race first, you over there, you do your thing, no matter what race or creed of people you are. White folks do their thing, Indian folks do their thing, Asians do their thing, black people damn sure do your thing. But the minute lines are crossed, the minute boundaries are crossed, violations are acted upon, now I have the God-given right, my birthright, not from no Bible, not from no Quran, Torah, or any man-made law, state law, that says that I now can go back at you to defend myself, because self-preservation is the order of the day. Black people have to get it clear through their thick-ass heads that we are on the chopping block. Yes, we are a big people. Yes, we are a numerous people. But when you're scattered and your mind is jacked up, you really ain't too much. You feel what I'm saying? You really ain't too much. So at the end of the day, black people need to wake up. Black people need to center in on themselves and not feel ashamed for doing so. Since we've been in this country, we've been basically born and bred to feel ashamed to be black people. We've been born and bred to go against black people. And I'm going to say it like this. The system of racism and white supremacy has created the greatest invention ever besides the patent. And forgive my language, family, that invention is the invention of the nigger. Period, point blank. Niggas are born and bred to go at each other any and every time they get a chance. Any and every time they see another person that looks just like them. And that all stems from the lack of self-love. This is why I say when I have my conversations with people, black love is the cure for the black nation, so let's get it. When you love yourself, it's just like going to the bathroom in the morning when you look in the mirror. If you don't love what you see, right? When you step outside and you see another brother or another sister, which should be our exact mirror reflection, because we should be a reflection of one another, both on word and deed. You feel what I'm saying? As well as vibration. When we see that other reflection, we don't like what we see because we don't like who we are. So therefore, now I gotta go at you on any and everything. Again, niggas are born and bred to go against niggas on every level. Black people, on the other hand, don't fall for that shit. Still there, family?
We here.
Yes, we're here, brother. We're here.
All right. Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, we don't jump in and interrupt.
Okay, peace. I appreciate that. All right, cool. So if you let me go a little bit further. All right. Getting to the second type of nationalism, right? Which is basically the imperialistic force that we're dealing with right now. All you got to go out is basically just go outside. Look around your neighborhood. Look at the different shops. Look at the different businesses. And matter of fact, just look at the people themselves. Everybody around us is practicing nationalism. But the thing about them, because they're practicing it and because they've been doing it so long and so efficiently, you feel what I'm saying? They don't have to say a goddamn word. They just wake up and they do what they do for them. They preserve themselves on every level. They save themselves on every level. And you know what? Because we have been so mentally castrated for the last hundreds and hundreds of years here in the West or whatever, they know that our minds are not strong enough to do what we need to do currently, right now. I'm not even going to go and say in the future, but as of this moment, and as history has proven, we don't have the mental capacities, as they say, and as we live, basically, to do what we got to do. So therefore, we help them survive. We help them thrive. Put it this way. Any other race of people out there, right? Especially those coming from the eastern hemisphere of the world, coming over here and monopolizing on us, whatever, right? They have been set up. Their children are set for the next 5 generations plus. I'm certain of it. Us, on the other hand, you know what we're set up? We're set up for the next paycheck next Friday. We live week to week, day to day. We don't practice self-reliance, self-determination, nor self-preservation. You feel what I'm saying? Now, getting back to the UNIA, if you will, which I am a member of, Division 432 right here in Jamaica, Queens. If you know Marcus Garvey, he always ended everything what he said was one God, one aim, one destiny. Now follow me if you will, but in order to follow this, you cannot have religious hearing or mental. Follow me, because the minute people hear the word God, they get spooked out. But this is what it is. One God. When you look at it on a practical level, right? A God is supposed to be worshipped, held in high esteem, held in high reverence and honor, this, that, and the third. Now, when you put that on a practical level and you look within the hood, that should be the black community. God, the concept of one God should be that of the black community. The worship and the restoration and reverence of the black community, man, woman, and child, all together on one common level, right? One aim. What is our plan as a black people? What are we thinking on? What are we mobilizing on to get us up out of the hells that we're into, right? That's our aim. One destiny. Where the hell we can be once we apply ourselves, once we apply all this knowledge that we're all engaged in right now. You feel what I'm saying? One destiny will then manifest. Now, with this knowledge, let me say this as well. It's 2015. We got more than enough avenues, right, to get any piece of information that we need. It's one click away. It's one button away. It's one phone call away, if you will, right? Garvey, in his day, reached up to 11 million people worldwide. No Facebook, no phone. He did it all by word of mouth, reaching with the people and with a newspaper. You feel what I'm saying? He reached with the people. Groundwork. You can't talk about the people and you're not with the people. You full of shit. That's what it is. And I gotta say, just like that. If you talk about the people, you gotta be amongst the people. There will be no Revolution 1 on Facebook. There will be no Revolution 1 on Instagram. There will be no Revolution 1 on off YouTube. Yes, these may be the different mediums that we use to reach those that are not in our immediate area. But once you get off, once you hit post and once you hit send, take your black ass outside and live that what you type. That's nationalism. Because if not, you're just talking your mouth. You're just blowing hot air. And at the end of the day, we got to be clear. A lot of the people, a lot of family out there abroad, you feel what I'm saying, that are quote unquote unconscious, as people like to use. I don't even like those words. But for the lack of a better word, they for the unconscious, whatever, they don't want to deal with this life, if you will. Because it is a life. You have to live it. You can't just type this shit all day. You have to live it. They don't want to deal with it based on the negative presentation of those who don't have their mind wrapped around what they're doing. They're just typing stuff. They're just spewing rhetoric. So therefore, it's see-through. It's transparent. Nobody wants to deal with it. We need official tissue, real deal G's, you feel what I'm saying, to come outside once you get off the phone, once you get offline. Come outside and link with the fam, link with the brothers, link with the sisters, link with the elders, the babies. I guarantee you, family, they will appreciate you more than that what you type. Your likes mean nothing. Your shares mean nothing. But when you conversate with a brother and a sister and you get that energetic vibe, that's your reward nonetheless. Forget a share, forget a like. If you're not living and standing on that what you type, you are full of shit and you're hurting the people more than what you think you're helping. Nationalism requires groundwork on any level of what you're trying to do. If you want to do something small, if you want to do something big. But at the end of the day, it requires groundwork. If you're not working for it, then just shut up. Period, point blank. Period, point blank. Right now, it's sink or swim time. And personally, me and mine, we not sinking nothing. We ain't drowning over here for nothing because we on the ground with the people. We just wish that the more people in a collective would do what they say. Because at the end of the day, you can just go up and down your timeline. You got a million and gazillion people all basically saying the same stuff, but who's actually living that shit? That's the question. That's the question right there. Word up. What's on y'all, fam?
Brother, definitely thank you for that contribution, brother. You know, one of the things that we're constantly talking about on Sign of the Times is the idea, quite simply, of us developing an idea of collectivism, be it political, be it economic, and what have you. And I know that you're absolutely correct when you talk about other populations not speaking about their nationalism, because in many ways it is effortless for them. It is second nature. They just do it. They wake up, as you put it, and they do what they do. One of our largest problems is quite simply, we're trying to figure out a solution for this problem. You know, we're somewhat tired and weary of the idea of analyzing and talking about the problem, and we're moving towards the solution. So one of the things that we're dealing with is quite simply the idea of what is the solution? What can we do to get our people to understand when that brother wakes up and he looks in the mirror in the morning, number one, for him to feel good, have love of self, number one. And then when he goes out into the community, that love being able to be transmitted to everybody that he runs across and that he deals with on a daily basis that looks like him. So what are you thinking in regards to how do we instill that, infuse that into our people? And I yield with that, brother. All right,
I'm gonna say it like this. For us to move forward, straight up, we gotta drop every title that we have. Because let's be real, Negroes love titles, and this just goes to show how much we really are attached to this plantation mentality, and that we think that we left from it. Because everything, let's be real, that whole concept of having the best title and having the best position, that all came from the plantation when they basically put us against one another to see who was going to duke it out. You feel what I'm saying? At the end of the day, remove your titles, remove your religious position, right? Now, when I say that, let me say this. Nobody's saying you got to give up your religion, because let's be clear. Black folks are not giving up their religions, even though we know the history states it comes from our oppressors, even though we know the history states it put us in these hells that we're in, etc., 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 etc. Black folks are just not going to give it up. Okay, cool, I got it, I understand. But at the first and foremost, a minute ago, I remember, I forgot somebody, I think it may have been you, brother. You mentioned Malcolm, or the other brother that was on a minute ago. Malcolm told us, right? In order for us to have a conversation, leave your personal stuff at the crib. Leave your religious titles at the crib. Leave your political, your personal political views at the crib, etc., etc. Anything that you deal with on a personal, leave it at the house, because that what you deal with on the personal may cause conflict with somebody else who does not deal with that on the personal. So therefore, when we come together on a collective as black people, we should only focus on central core black issues. Common sense for the common people dealing with common issues, seeking common solutions. You feel me? So with that being said, remove every title when you're dealing with the people. When you're dealing with the people, you should be just brother so-and-so dealing with sister so-and-so. Sister so-and-so dealing with elder so-and-so. And so on and so on and so on. I have no title when I deal with the people. When I'm out with the people, I'm just brother Nguvo. Brother from around the hood who happens to see a little something that I don't like, and I'm pretty sure the family don't like it either. So that's what we conversate on. I don't come up to him on some, hello, I'm brother Nguvo from this and I do this and that right there. It's a turn off to people because it gives a sense of you're trying to compete with me. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, you got this type of accolade and this, that, and third. So what you trying to say about me? This is why I say leave that shit at the house and just come before the people as the people. That's all you got to do, because I promise you, and I'm talking from experience. I do this every day, every single day. When you're genuine with it, right? When you just come humbly as yourself, not trying to be this big bad Willie super duper black power mofo that's basically really transparent. You feel what I'm saying? When you just come as your natural self, your natural essence, you will be received and welcomed very warmly, and not for nothing, the people will appreciate you. Till this day, I walk them down my block. Till this day, I walk my neighborhood, and people that I done talked to a couple months ago, yo, brother Nguvo, I still got them codes that you gave me. I still got that RBG code of conduct that you gave me, and so on and so on. It resonates with people. So, you know what I'm saying? It deeply resonates. But you have to be genuine with your mission. And like you said a minute ago, you got to be selfless, not selfish. This is a selfless walk. You are the last one that you think about. Real talk. Real talk. Let's be clear. You wake up with the mind, with the people on mind. You wake up, how am I going to get my family together? You wake up, how am I going to do something for the hood, etc., etc., etc. Then if you got time, you may think about yourself. That's just the mind state of a nationalist. You put the people first. You feel what I'm saying? If you're thinking about yourself first, like I said, you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt everybody that's around you. And then you'll be saying, damn, why black people treat me like this? And they all going to turn around and say, nigga, because you was full of shit. So drop the titles, drop the personal stuff, and let's just come on a common core. Come on the common core. Listen, I'm black, you black, we black, damn it, we hurting. What do we do from there? That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do, because the minute you bring in, once again, the minute you bring in a personal, it's going to contrast with somebody else's personal. And then you got quarrel, then you got fight, and then you have no movements, no progression, and not for nothing, everybody else is just going to sit back and laugh. And there they go them black folks again. There they go at it again, fighting each other, best like they always do. So leave the personals at home and just deal with the people as the people. Be received. Present yourself to be received. That's it. That's really it, man. Family?
Yeah. Peace. Is my mic on?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother. You're good. You're good. All right.
Peace, brother. What's your name again, brother, so I can address you properly?
Nguvo Nayusi.
And Google?
Yes.
All right. Peace and blessings, brother, and Google. I really appreciate, your presence. I appreciate your passion, your strength. And, I appreciate your love.
Mutual, brother. It's mutual.
For our people, man, because, that's so important. We've been talking about it. It's so important that we be unapologetically black,
That's right.
and not afraid to put ourselves first in this lifetime and in the society that we're living in. And you said a whole lot of things that I agreed with personally. I like the...
Hello? You still there? Think something happened.
Sound like you dropped.
My fault. You're just gonna have to. I pressed the mute button by accident. I really appreciate that you brought up names of our ancestors. Of those our forefathers who came before us, who fought and made great sacrifices to strive to live their lives in a way where they would provide us with legacies, of consciousness, of pride, of dignity, of strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about, I heard you mention the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
The big homie.
And the UNIA. I heard you mention, Brother Tony Martin, who I had the pleasure to meet, back in the 90s, and I always saw the brother to be a diligent, pro-black scholar, particularly as a historian, to document the great UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, as you said, and the great work of Marcus Garvey. And I also heard you mention Blueprint to Black Power, and our wonderful, strong, warrior scholar, Dr. Amos Wilson. Yep. And these are some of the things that I think are very important, because we've been talking about at times the lack of a cultural, political literacy, that a lot of times exists, not just amongst, the grassroots people in our neighborhoods, but a lot of times amongst those who have stepped out and have tried to, open up their mouths about what we should be doing. A lot of times there hasn't been enough serious study, based upon and connected to our forefathers who went before us, who have rich legacies, rich heritage that would help us to inform ourselves of what we should be doing in this day and time, rooted in what they did, in their time to get us to this point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just really appreciate, brother. I appreciate everything that you said, and especially when you talked about as well that we should not just be about, fighting these battles on social media. We should take advantage of social media because a lot of times that's the only media we have access to, because the enemy learned his lesson, a good 20, 35 years ago, that one of the quickest ways that I can stop them from being able to communicate amongst each other is to not give them access to our media. You know what I mean? And if we are not about the mindset and practice of grassroots activism, a lot of times we don't have any real roots in the places that we live. So I'm glad that you talked about the need for us to put it down and build those relationships, with the people in places that we live, and not just be, because a lot of times, you have people that they're all rah-rah on social media, and they're all rah-rah on the radio, on Blog Talk or whatever the case may be, but then you go to their neighborhood, nobody even knows them. Yep. Nobody even, they just know him. They know him as a neighbor, but they don't know him as a theorist. They don't know him as an activist. Yep. You know what I mean? So many things you said that was very important, and I just wanted to, say, yo, man, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for representing the way you represented. I'm pretty sure that I speak for Sister Queen and Dr. Jones, and, brother, I hope that you come through, more often, you know what I mean? And you in Queens as well, so I'm in the Bronx, you know what I mean? So,
we can link up, bro. We can link up. We can definitely lock arms, yeah. We can definitely lock arms. Word.
Yeah, man. So, thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you for listening, fam. I appreciate y'all for listening to what I had to say, man. Like I said, I ain't nobody. I'm just brother Nguvo from around the way. You dig? But I appreciate y'all, man. Word up. Y'all give me energy to do what I do. You dig? So, it's each one reach one, teach one. That's number 9 of the RBG code, man. Each one reach one, teach one. So y'all reached out to me, I reached back out to y'all. And we make it happen, man. That's what it is. That's Black Power. Word up.
No doubt. Starboy online, right? Can we bring him into the room? Oh, yeah, my bad. I forgot I put my phone on mute. I was here talking. I'm like, dang, y'all here? You not hearing me. How y'all doing, by the way, Sammy? Okay.
Great.
Good,
Thank you.
Good. All right. Yeah, I was listening to the, is it brother, is it Nguvo? Is that what you said?
It's Nguvo, brother. Nguvo. I apologize. Nguvo.
Okay, Nguvo.
Yeah.
You are actually RBG affiliated, correct?
I am, sir.
If I heard, okay. That's what I'm talking about. I'm actually going to the RBG.
You going to Texas this weekend? I mean, not this weekend. You going to Texas in August? In August?
In August.
I'll see you in August, brother. I'll see you in August, brother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I definitely see. I got a few of the RBG brothers that I affiliate with and do some groundwork with when I'm here. So you definitely gonna link up.
Oh yeah.
Possibly get your number if anything when we get off this line, so we can definitely collaborate.
This is what I do. This is what I do because I'm talking with the Queen right now on via text or whatever. So I'll send her every piece of contact that I got, and then she can do what she want to do. Whoever needs wants to get up with me or whatever, and we can go from there. Cool.
Definitely.
All right. No doubt.
But yeah, you definitely brought us some very important things, and I'm gonna tell you. Besides the brothers that are on here on the norm, you know what I'm saying, you're one of the few people that actually come on here and say some real stuff that that I can agree with in every which way. You know, because I mean, you like brother Mike said, you dropped some names out there that you know you can definitely look at as a blueprint as to what we need to do. You know, I agree. You know, I'm one of those few people that I do use Facebook, you know, to reach the masses because I don't have the funds nor the back of it, you know, like some to where I can go beyond just here where I'm at in Texas, you know, on a face-to-face or whatever. And sometimes on a face-to-face, people look at you like you're crazy because I'm always trying to, you know, interact and spread the knowledge to my fellow man or whatever it is. There's one thing that I definitely agree with, and that is when you do what you do, which is what we're doing, the so-called bit of that word, you know, be conscious and try to share that consciousness of what's going on, you know, with us in our community, is, you know, I definitely put the people first. And I think that's one of the main things or ingredients that we need in a situation such as these. And like you said, we can't be selfish in our thoughts. Because when you get to when you're selfish in your thoughts, then you're only self-serving to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And you're not really reaching the man in the manner in which you need to. But what I've also realized that sometimes when you do put the people first and you spread that knowledge, they're so scared because it's something you're treading waters, and in fact, I mean, you're actually, you know what I'm saying, doing something that is not the norm. It's not popular.
Right.
So you tend to get a lot of friction. You tend to get a lot of, I don't want to hear that bullshit, that back to Africa. Right.
But this how you handle that. This how you handle that. This is very simple how you handle that. You handle that by being as real as you can. Once they see that you're unshakable from your square, from your position and your stance, then they will realize, okay, maybe this shit is official. Maybe this shit really is real. Because the minute they see you, put it this way, the people are waiting to see you fall. They're not wishing ill will on you, but nonetheless, because this way of life, this way of thinking, this cognition, if you will, is foreign to us. Let's be crystal clear. This shit is foreign to black people. It's funny that I have to say it that way. The seeking of black freedom is foreign to black people because we've had this plantation mind for so freaking long that we can't even think of the notion of freeing ourselves. Look at that. Look at every decade from now on back. So let's just go the 50s, if you will. Everything was that whole concept of we shall overcome. Everything will be good in the by and by. Waiting on the hereafter, and we're asking, and can y'all do this for us? We have yet to say, damn it, I'm going to do this shit for myself since the Garvey movement. Let's be crystal clear. And everything, I also want to say this, and I'm not throwing shade. Like I said a minute ago, we got to let go of these religious titles because a lot of these different organizations, crews, and cliques that folks are part of are really religious based. They'll tell you, oh, to hell with the Christians and this, that, and the third, and then come right out of that same book, the same goddamn book, and tell you something, oh, well, you got to read it like this and this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, you spit in religion. If you're coming out the Quran, the same thing, the Torah, the same thing. We have to leave the religious talks alone because it's really stopping our walk. It halts our walk. Because at the end of the day, every last one of these religions, they all teach every one of their adherents, don't do shit right now. What's going on right now is basically ordained by God, so just roll with it, go through it, because everything will be all well, or if you just suffer for a little bit longer. It'll be better once you die. To hell with that shit. Black people need to live now. It's bad enough we physically dying as it is, being murdered and killed off. If you ain't trying to live now, you need to get away from around me. I love you. Don't get me wrong, because what I'm fighting for and will be fighting for is for the benefit of all black people. But as far as that energy, I personally can't deal with it in my circle because energy's transfer. You know that. I don't need that energy transferring into my psyche. You feel what I'm saying? I'm focused on banging this shit for the people. I don't need you coming, well, everything would be good if we just continue doing what we've been doing the last 500 to 1,000 years, which ain't produced shit. You feel what I'm saying? We got to get out of that mentality. We got to be, listen, they go hard for this, why the hell I'm not going hard for mine? And we all got to do that on a collective level, from your house to the house next to you. Then you get your block. Once you get your block, you get your neighborhood. Once you get your neighborhood, you get the town, city, state. Now you got the whole goddamn country. It's not hard, yo. All we got to do is just apply the shit that we've been saying for the longest time. Everybody regurgitates. Nobody acts on what they say.
That's real talk.
All we do is regurgitate. Nobody acts.
Yeah, that's real talk. And one thing I am is definitely, I'm stubborn with it in the sense of, can't nobody stop me. Ain't nobody gonna change me from what it is that I'm set out to do. Just to give you a brief history, I'm Jamaican by blood.
That's what's up.
But my ancestry is what they would call the Maroons, which God himself was somewhat linked to Maroon. You understand what I'm saying? So my ancestry, I'm literally not like some Jamaicans can say that I'm literally my people actually fought for their freedom. You understand? So that I'm directly linked to because my people would directly consider themselves to be actually Guyanese and actually speak some of the Ghana dialects from the motherland. You understand? A lot of Jamaicans who they have a mixture of the West and Central language, but my people actually is. So my mentality is that of my countryman Marcus, Messiah Garvey, in the sense of I do, stand for the people and for the people, and what I do, I would literally die for it. Some people say that, throw that around and say, yeah, I'll die for it. But then when it comes to it, and they hear that bullet, and when they hear that gun pop or whatever it is, or that see that machete or whatever swinging, they run in and digging, calling for their mama. You understand what I'm saying? So, I agree with you, what you say. The energy in which that you bring, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully it is of positivity and it is for the people.
This is life or death, man.
It ain't some bullshit that you're talking about.
It's life or death, man. It's life or death. Do you want to see the people stand or you want to see them under, 6 feet under? This shit is life or death, man. Real talk. And the minute that the people understand it like that, the minute we come to that conclusion, that this shit is life or death, this shit is a wartime scenario that we in. The minute we get that mindset, man, I promise you, then everybody will be like, they take their damn heads out the clouds, out of La La Land, like, okay, this shit really is real. Because let's be real, we are reactionary people. We've become so reactionary, it's scary. We wait for CNN to say breaking news, another one killed. Then we get riled up. Nah. The same energy that we have, watch this, and no disrespect to everybody out there, none at all. The same energy we had with Ferguson, the same energy we had with Baltimore for those 2 weeks time periods, right? That's the energy that we need to have on a day-to-day when the energy is channeled correctly to come up with a freaking plan to get the hell up out of hell. That's the energy that we need. You saw how lively them babies were. You feel what I'm saying? Now let's channel that energy and put it into a blueprint. You feel what I'm saying? We have every solution that we've been asking for. Everybody says, what's the solution? What's the solution? What's the solution? We have them. All folks got to do is just listen. And once they listen, then they apply. And once they apply, they multiply that shit. That's all. That's all.
That's real talk. I agree with you 100%. And I've always preached to people like you said, we're very reactionary. Only when something pop off it is. But what we have to understand is that I don't want to say enemy because there are enemies that look like us as well. So I don't want to say the enemy, but what we have to understand is that the system has studied us for many years, so they already know what we're going to do. That's why when they do it, they don't strip on it. Now, when you look at the white man, the Asian, or whoever it may be, these fools, even the Middle Eastern, they're willing to kill and blow their damn self off some of them. They're willing to motherfucking go in a plane and crash into something. You understand? For their liberation, their freedom, for what they stand for. What the hell are we doing? What the hell do we do? We tend to what? React when something happens, tear some shit up. They say it's our neighborhood or whatever, but really truly, that
ain't no our community or our neighborhood, because we don't own the shit, so it ain't ours for one.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we need to what I like to say is get into a vengeance mentality. Now, when I say vengeance, a person might think that, you know, is what vengeance is in it's to imply like what we've been doing, where we tear shit up and this and that. Nah, that's reaction. What vengeance is when you sit there, you see what the issue is, you see what the problem is, everything that has been smited against you. You sit and you plan. You come up with a master plan, a plan that you know that when you freaking strike, it will be successful. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we need to get into, as a people, and not always just react, but to think, plot, come up with something that you know when we strike, we know it's going to hit, bam. And that won't say a boom, hit you with the next one, boom, bam. That way, when you hit these motherfuckers, they know these motherfuckers mean business, and we better start listening. And it ain't necessarily have to be about blowing shit up and killing this motherfucker. There's other ways that you can do. You can act mentally, you add it with some physical. I mean, there's many ways you can destroy the system in which we stand, so we can get more power. The Asians and them ain't blowing shit up. They're just thinking. You understand what I'm saying? When whatever happened to them in World War and the Pearl Harbor and all that stuff, they came together. They didn't know what they needed to do. Same thing go for the Middle East, and same thing go for, the Jews and the Italians and all them motherfuckers. When they got here, they came up with a plan. They organized. Vengeance was on their mind, and look where they are right now. Look at where we are. We know they fight against us. We know that already. So we need to come together. You know what I'm saying? Here and over there, black and African. Because, over here we seem to see that we're different than the African. We don't want to call ourselves African. We call ourselves the people. So the people is also those people that's over there. If you look at every true leader that's been in this country, whether it be from Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X, one thing they did, they always wanted to connect with the motherland.
That's right.
So if they felt it was necessary to connect with the motherland, why do we think it's not necessary? We only should concentrate on here. You know what I'm saying? We need to concentrate on everybody that looks like us.
That's right.
So that way, when we come together, we're actually a fighting force that motherfuckers know these suckers are unified. You understand? So they're going to have to become strong.
I'm going to say one more thing. That I might have left out earlier. Also dealing with, how to combat this shit, right? Of course, like I said, first and foremost, black love. Like I always say, black love is a kid for the black nation, so let's get it. And number 2, reconnaissance, man. Again, this is warfare, right? We got to start thinking like soldiers, family. This is warfare. Everybody want to be a goddamn general, but nobody wants to study the battlefield. Warfare. And warfare, reconnaissance is very vital into the sustenance or the sustaining of your troops and or their troops. They study you. You see, they've been studying us for the last thousands upon thousands of years. They know us in and out. Here in the West, they've been studying us for the last 500 years. They know us in and out, right? We don't know shit about how they do. Mind you, and this is the funny thing about it. Mind you, we've been involved in every step of the way of this system. We fought in every war. We've built every piece of infrastructure. You feel what I'm saying? Etc., etc., etc. We've taught in every school. Everything. We've been a part of every single freaking thing within the system, but yet we don't know shit about the system. Why? Because folks have failed to realize that in order to sustain yourself in battle, you gotta know your enemy. Dead Press said it, they said it best. Know yourself, know your enemy. That's the politics. It's very vital. You got to know exactly what you're dealing with. Black people today do not know what the hell they're dealing with. They're just running around saying the white man, the white man, the white man. The same old bullshit. I hate that line. Especially like, for example, the white man is the devil. I hate that line because it puts fear in you to the point where you do not want to work anymore. Because you've raised this white man, this person, on such a level. Because remember, according to the text, I don't mean to jump on a tangent, but according to the text, God and the devil was on the same level before the coming of man, right? So now you just raised this person that's been whooping your ass for the longest time. You've raised him to basically God status. Therefore, your ass, because of course you gotta fear God. That's the first step of wisdom, right? To fear God. Now you done put this white man on the same level as God. You fear him. Now you think you're doing something. No, family. You're putting yourself in a hole. You're putting yourself in a hole. We got to get away from that mentality, G. Real talk.
Man, it's funny you brought that up because I agree with you. Because just like you said, they were on the same level, but they're also used in the Bible as well as interchangeable. One, you know, God is one thing and the devil is one. It's like they're pretty much the same damn people.
Yep.
If one who reads the Bible can decipher and see that in many different cases of the book. Like, we don't want to get on that topic or subject, but you know, it's important that, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's great that you mentioned that. You know what I'm saying? And like, for instance, the word supremacy, white supremacy, I don't even use that damn word no more, man. It's supremacy to what? You ain't supreme to me, man. I mean, I'm claiming you, for me to say, hey, white supremacy, then, hey, that means that I'm a low life, I'm a bum. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
You, when in fact, the white man is even lower than me. When if you really want to be, technical with it, you know what I'm saying? They don't watch welfare more than the freaking black man.
Yes, they are.
Believe it or not, they're more unemployed than we are.
Yes, they are.
Why? Because the average black man gonna go out there and get a job. They're just fix some shit up off the goddamn street. The white man thinks he's too good for that shit.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? So when I'm up, I run faster than the white man. My dick is bigger than the white man. God damn it, my freaking muscles are bigger than him.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So what the hell am I going to talk about he's supreme over me for when in fact it's the opposite?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't use those statements. I don't use those terms. And they say that blacks who actually associate themselves and know thyself tend to do a whole lot better. Why? Because they are proud of who they are because of knowing who they are.
Yep.
So my thing is, when people see me and see how I act, they think that I'm acting like I'm cocky, I'm arrogant or whatever. Not because I know who I am. And as such, I act as such.
That's right.
You understand what
That's
I mean?
right.
So if you take offense to what it is, then don't get mad at me. That means you need to get where I'm at.
Right. That's a gut check you got to do. Right. Man, I really enjoy talking with y'all, man. Word is born, man. This has really been a dope conversation. Real talk. This has been a dope conversation.
That's what we do one time at a time, baby. On the realest show out there.
I agree. Like I said, I appreciate y'all having me on. Shout out to the sister Queen, man. She invited me. I came through. I appreciate you, man, for reaching out. Word up.
Hey, that's what takes you through.
We definitely appreciate you coming through, brother. Definitely, this wonderful dialogue is what we do on Sign of the Times, as Brother Starboy just said. You know, does anyone have any questions for our guest? I know that I have one very pertinent question for him, and it is quite simply the idea. And we talk about this idea of internationalism or Pan-Africanism, as Marcus Mosiah Garvey talked about. One of my problems with the idea of Pan-Africanism is quite simply that we're constantly telling our people to get their minds straight into, in many ways, deal with Africa. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's traveling to the continent that I know for sure is quite simply that, like if you're in Ghana, the tweet word that they utilize to talk about us is Obruni, which is their word for stranger or white man. Okay. Everyone's telling us that we need to get our mind right and start dealing with Africa. It has always been my comeback, my retort, so to speak, in regards to dealing with the African, which is quite simply, the African needs to get his mind right even more than we do. Because if you have a population of individuals who don't recognize us as brothers, and at the exact same time, they don't recognize themselves as brothers.
Well, the thing is this.
That's why there's never been a United States of Africa. And it's a bigger part of it is quite simply, it's why Africa has remained so weak. Because they will not come together because they're afraid of losing just 1 ounce of any sovereignty that they think they have. And I yield right there, brother.
Well, the thing is this. When it comes to dealing with the continent, right, everybody says we do need to lock arms, which is very much true because at the end of the day, the land of Africa is basically the world's source of life, nonetheless. From food to trade and commerce, you name it. That's the hub for the world, nonetheless. So once black people regain their hub, we can thrive globally. Now, before we can do that, it definitely requires Africans here in America, in the West, or America, as I like to call it, it definitely requires us, like I said a minute ago, because we've been within the system and we know every step about it, but we just don't know we know every step about it. Once we act on it and to our benefit, right, then we then become the beacon of hope for the rest of the world. Let's be clear. The rest of the world is waiting on us right here to do what we have to do. We are the jump starters. We are the catalyst for this entire global thing. Now, back on the continent, just like you said a minute ago, they're in way much worse shape than we ever could be over here, because they're literally still under colonialism. Our thing is still mental. Their thing is actually a little bit still physical. They still walking around, you feel what I'm saying, bowing their heads when they see white folk and this, that, and the third, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're still under direct colonialism. So the minute we get them to around the concept of black love, because let's be clear, a lot of Africans over there on the continent do not love themselves. They're engaged in the homosexuality. They're engaged in trying to look like the latest European and this, that, and the third. They're engaged in that shit way more than we are over here. It's propagandized over here, but they're living that shit over there. So we gotta we have to be that beacon of hope. You feel what I'm saying? So I actually use the term the sun rises in the west, dealing with us. In other words, once we get our shit together, once our light starts shining, which is the sun here in the west, the rest of the world would say, okay, it's time to move. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, everybody's following what we doing. If they don't love themselves over there, it's all basically because they're mirroring what they see us doing over here. We don't love ourselves over here, so why the hell they gonna do it over there? We are the jump start. Real talk. We're the jump start.
And that's exactly why I state what I state when I say we, being who we are over here, with the opportunity, even though there are more billionaires, over there in Africa as we speak, you understand, compared to the 2 or whatever that's over here, 2 or 3 that's over here. But one of the reasons why I say we here as blacks, in America, we need to try to connect over there with, the ones in Africa, is for the simple fact that we are, like you said, the jump start. So if we, as the jump starters or the leaders, so to speak, in this revolution that we need to, that we actually jump starting right now, could connect with those people, to connect with, our brothers and our sisters that are over there, because they are brothers and sisters. This might do some of them. Just like some of us over here say, hell no, we ain't African. It's the same thing over there. They're saying, hell no, we ain't black. Understand? So it's the same because it's the same system that's over here is over there.
Yep.
You understand? So that's what we have to understand, is that the same bullshit system that's over here is over there too. It's just on a more mass, if anything. Like you said, over here is propaganda, over there is life. You understand?
Yep.
So with that being the case, and we know that's the case, we then need to then say, hey, we know that the system over there is here, so let's come together and try to motherfucking change the system.
Yep.
That we know that's oppressing and oppressing us. You understand? And like you said, but us being the leader who we are, we need to show them that, because once we fucking show them and make the move that's necessary, then they will follow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I tend to preach that, and others might say, that's Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, he ain't the biggest factor that when I say that, whatever. And I understand where he's coming from. But trust me, just like there are blacks over here who respect the motherland and want to connect with the motherland, trust and believe, because I communicate with the Africans that's over there that want to communicate and unite with the blacks over here. Trust me. If you allow me, I just want to jump in on that point right there, Brother Star. And I'm with you. I'm with you, and I think we're all with you. But the thing about it is there has to be a rational process to the reunification of the sons and daughters of Africa. You know what I mean? We have to think globally, but we have to act locally. And there's no way that we can, reach from the messed up, decrepit situations that we're dealing with prior, to the battle we need to fight here, to unite with people who have their own problems. We got our own problems here. They got their own problems there.
Yep.
Like Brother Malcolm tried, he went across the seas in his last year, and he went and he met with many of the emerging nations who were emerging from colonialism. And he met with a lot of the leaders of these former colonies and tried to set unity that would allow us to put pressure on this Western colonial system that was dominating us. But notice that he came back. Even, he made the connections, but he came back here
and said we got to do it right here first.
He knew that the black struggle in America was a linchpin that had to, be fortified and brought together. Here, we had a fight to fight here so that we could save ourselves and liberate ourselves, so that we would have some type of power to be able to bring to the table. So it's not when we say we got to fight the battle there, it's not saying that we don't feel the need to be able to reconnect with our family members spread out throughout the diaspora. We just know that grassroots activism is, the best and most rational thing that we can bring to the table at this point in time as we strive to liberate and save ourselves from the system of colonialism that has us living in little colonies spread throughout America. You know what I mean? So we just, we got to have a process. One thing is the prelude to the other thing, and you can't get to the thing, that's further up the line before you deal with the initial thing. You know what I mean? And part of what we have to do right now is we have to build strategy that's based upon practical, principled action for us to fight the battles that we need to be able to fight, in these neighborhoods that, we don't own, that we don't control, you know what I mean? And they got us living as second-class citizens in, you know what I mean? So we got to start there, And that's the best thing that we can do. The best thing that we can do to really even be able to have anything to offer to anybody outside of ourselves, in the larger family, is for us to take ownership and control over our own lives and our own circumstances in these neighborhoods that we're trapped in, at this present time. So I just wanted to throw that in there to bring some clarity to that. It's not us or them, it's us and them.
That's right.
But it's us taking care of us, and it's them taking care of them.
And then we do it together.
And us trying to see ourselves as a family. You know what I mean? And not against each other. I agree with you, and I'm glad, and I appreciate you clarifying that. And I want you to understand that I too, am for the grassroots, process. We definitely need to, take care of what's going on over here. But at the same time too, we've been doing that for so many years. And when Marcus Garvey and Malcolm and whoever else that we can look at as blueprints, when it comes to this whole liberation struggle, it is that they knew there were problems here. Like I said, they knew we had the same problems here, and that we need to take care of home, which they did. They did the groundwork to take care of home. But they also had that, as it was said, because we know that Malcolm was a hustler. So was Marcus Garvey. So I think what he did at one point or another, he came in that hustle mentality, just like, those who probably been in the streets and did the hustle or whatever. If you want to really make something happen, you can take care of home, you can hold down the fort here or whatever. If you really want to extend your business or whatever it is and take it to the next level, what do? You go to the next town or the next state and you try to make connections so that, you can bring up your dividend. So when you hear me say what I say, I know that here we got to take care of here and take care of home or whatever it is, but you got places like Ghana right now that's building their own freaking automobile. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Nigeria that has its own oil. You know what I'm saying? That's like I said, that's blown out the competition. Every country you could think of. Why every country is going over there. Everybody else is going to Africa, but the Africans here. Everybody else is going to Africa to make connection and grow their dividend, but us here. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? We have probably a better opportunity, in a sense, to connect with them, seeing who we are, and we can also do export and import businesses and grow our freaking dividends over here. Yep. Just like the freaking Chinese, just like the Europeans, just like the Middle Eastern, and whoever the fuck it is that's going over and reaping the benefits of the richest continent in the whole damn world. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all I'm just saying. It's the logic of it. That, hey, I understand we need to take care of business over here, and And I agree. But shit, it's what we've been doing for the last 200 plus years ain't growing our shit. Because we ain't building automobiles. We ain't got no oil. But the motherfucker that look like us do. And if you can connect with the motherfucker over there, and there are a lot of people over there, trust me. I talk to them. That's wanting to do business with blacks over here. You understand? Because who do you go to when you want to do business? You go to the black community. The white do it, the Chinese do it, the Middle Eastern do it. All them motherfuckers are Korean. They come to a black community. Why? Because the average white, Asian, or motherfuckers going to save their money. They're going to take your money, but they're going to save their money. Why? Because they want their shit to grow. They want their motherfucking money to grow and take care of their own. But they know us. They come to us. We going to buy this shit. We're not going to save our shit. You understand? We spend it. They take it from us. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all. That's all I said. But trust me, Sam. You know, Brother Mike and Brother Jones, and whoever else, you know, that might, you know, get the misconception that, you know, I'm not saying take your home first. You know, I understand that, but trust and believe. We can expand, you know, and extend our hand and find a few that you are willing to work with. Man, you just don't know, man. We'll blow these motherfuckers out the water, man. All I'm doing is taking a page from the Asian and the Asian, the European, and the Middle Eastern, and even the freaking Mexican book, how they grow their business. They connect with home. Real talk.
I just got one more thing to say, family, and then I'm gonna get up out of here, if you will. I just want to say one more thing, and I'm gonna get up out of here. I got some things I got to take care of. First and foremost, to free ourselves, we need consistency. We have to be consistent. Garvey said when he was on the earth, whatever, he told us it took us about 500 plus years to get into the stuff that we in, and I'm just paraphrasing. It took us mad time to get in the hells that we in, so it just may take double time to get up out of it. But at the end of the day, we have to be consistent and diligent within our efforts and our plans, man. If the minute we take a break, take a pause, it goes south. So we have to bang every day, every moment of the day, every way possible.
You're breaking up, brother. It's maybe in an area that I'm not quite sure. There's a whole bunch of rock here.
Yeah, it's noise where you at. It's noise where you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. What I was saying was, basically, at the end of the day, we got to be consistent. It took us 500 years to get into the shit that we in. It just may take 501 to get up out of it. But at the end of the day, we got to bang daily. We got to think daily. We got to act daily. The minute we get lax, we basically reset the clock on another 500 years. So if we want to see that number decrease, we got to bang daily. Whatever lane that you're in, drive that car in that lane. Everybody doesn't do the same thing, but at the end of the day, if you aim to the advancement of the people, we could do something. And I'm gonna end it on that right there, man.
Beautiful dialogue. I appreciate this dialogue.
Once again, like I said, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Also, just to let you know, I gave the Queen my information, whatever. Ask her for my contacts. She'll give it to y'all, and we can chop it up. We can talk.
Sure.
All right, but y'all be cool. Black Power. I appreciate y'all, and keep banging, man.
No, black power and power to the black, bro.
Always, always. There it is, family. Just a little conversation, just a little chop up on the blog talk, man. If y'all get a chance, I'm going to try to get the link or whatever. Y'all can look for that, and you can listen to it on your own time. But in the meantime, between time, Nguvo, now you see RNM here. RNM or BGTV. You already know we keeps it G. Black love is a cure for the Black Nation, so let's get it. Uncle Jobson there, Kutuapo, and Black Power.